Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into the pages of comic book history to review a true classic, Fantastic Four #1 from 1961. This iconic issue marked the birth of Marvel's first superhero family and set the stage for the Marvel Universe as we know it today. So let's jump into it. Here it is, Fantastic Four #1, released in November 1961. Created by the legendary duo of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, this issue introduced us to Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Susan Storm, Invisible Woman, Johnny Storm, Human Torch, and Ben Grimm, The Thing. Before we dive into the story, it's crucial to understand the historical context in which Fantastic Four was created. The late 1950s and early 1960s marked a pivotal period in the comic book industry. At the time, superhero comics were experiencing a resurgence in popularity, thanks in part to the success of DC Comics' Justice League of America. However, Marvel Comics, then known as Timely Publications and later as Atlas Comics, was struggling to compete with the superhero roster of their rival DC Comics. DC had iconic characters like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman who had been around for decades. Marvel needed something fresh and unique to set themselves apart and capture the imaginations of readers. DC Comics was the established powerhouse, boasting larger-than-life heroes who were often idealized paragons of virtue. Their stories were typically straightforward and often took place in fictionalized, idealized settings. Marvel wanted to take a different approach, one that would redefine the superhero genre. Enter Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, two visionary creators tasked with revitalizing Marvel's superhero line. Lee and Kirby realized that to stand out, they needed to craft characters who were more relatable and flawed, with their own unique set of challenges. They aimed to create a shared universe where heroes lived in the real world, grappling with real-world problems. This approach led to the birth of what would later be known as the Marvel Age of Comics. Fantastic Four Issue 1, published in November 1961, was the flagship title of this new era. It introduced us to Reed Richards, Susan Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, who were not just superheroes, but also real people with complex lives and emotions. The impact was immediate and profound. Readers connected with these characters on a deeper level than ever before, and Marvel superheroes felt like people you could know. They had financial troubles, romantic interests, and interpersonal conflicts, making them more relatable. This relatability was a breath of fresh air in the superhero genre. Furthermore, Fantastic Four set a new tone for superhero storytelling. The stories focus on the inner lives of the characters, their interpersonal relationships, and the consequences of their actions was a departure from the more straightforward, black and white morality of earlier superhero comics. It wasn't just about defeating villains, it was about the characters' growth and development. In summary, Fantastic Four #1 wasn't just the beginning of a new superhero team, it was the start of a revolution in the comic book industry. The Marvel approach to storytelling, characterized by complex, relatable characters and interconnected narratives, transformed the industry and set the stage for the Marvel Universe we know today. Before we proceed, it's essential to address a critical aspect of early comic books like Fantastic Four, the presence of unpleasant sexism. The comic book industry of the 1960s, like many other media of that era, was not immune to the prevailing cultural norms and biases of the time. In the case of the early Fantastic Four issues, the portrayal of women, especially Susan Storm, and the depiction of relationships between male and female characters can be seen as problematic by today's standards. Susan Storm, initially introduced as the Invisible Woman, often played the role of the damsel in distress in these early stories. Her character was sometimes depicted as more passive and less assertive than her male counterparts Reed, Johnny, and Ben. This reflected the prevalent gender stereotypes of the era, where women were often relegated to secondary roles or used as plot devices to create conflict or tension. It's crucial to recognize that while early comic books had their shortcomings in terms of representation and gender dynamics, the industry has evolved over the years. Modern comic book storytelling places a stronger emphasis on diverse and complex characters, addressing and rectifying past shortcomings. As we enjoy and appreciate classic comic books like Fantastic Four #1, it's important to do so with a critical eye, acknowledging the progress that has been made in the industry. We must also celebrate the creators and fans who have pushed for greater diversity and inclusivity in comic book narratives. Take a look at this cover. It's eye-catching and iconic. The Fantastic Four in action, battling the Mole Man's subterranean monsters. Kirby's dynamic art style and Lee's tagline, "the greatest comic magazine in the world," helped make this issue stand out on the newsstands. Now let's delve deeper into the plot of Fantastic Four #1. This iconic issue begins by taking a closer look at each character individually and their remarkable abilities. Reed Richards, a brilliant scientist and visionary, is the central figure. With a daring plan to explore the unknown reaches of space, he convinces his girlfriend, Susan Storm, her impulsive younger brother, Johnny Storm, and his loyal best friend, Ben Grimm, to join him on an experimental scientific mission. Little do they know that this mission into the cosmos will irrevocably alter their lives. High above the Earth, their spaceship is bombarded by cosmic rays, leading to a remarkable transformation in each of them. Reed Richards gains the power to stretch his body like rubber, becoming Mr. Fantastic. Susan Storm can turn invisible and generate force fields as the Invisible Woman. Johnny becomes the fiery Human Torch, able to engulf himself in flames and take flight. Ben is transformed into the rocky powerhouse known as the Thing, possessing incredible strength and durability. This origin story is not just a fantastic science fiction concept, it's a reflection of the human condition. Each character's powers come with their own set of challenges and personal struggles. It's not just about saving the world, it's about the internal conflicts and the bonds of friendship and family that make these characters relatable. As the Fantastic Four come to terms with their newfound abilities, they are soon faced with their first adversary, the Mole Man. This subterranean villain, who was once an outcast in the world above, has created a bizarre kingdom filled with strange creatures. He seeks to conquer the surface world, setting up a thrilling showdown between the Fantastic Four and the Mole Man's underground forces. The conflict with the Mole Man sets the tone for the kind of threats that the Fantastic Four will face throughout their adventures, blending science fiction with personal drama. The impact of Fantastic Four 1 can't be overstated. It laid the foundation for the entire Marvel Universe, with subsequent issues introducing iconic characters like Doctor Doom, the Skrulls, and the Inhumans. The family dynamic of the Fantastic Four set a new standard for superhero storytelling, emphasizing the human aspects of their characters, making their interactions and personal growth as significant as the battles they fought. Jack Kirby's art in this issue is exceptional. His bold, dynamic illustrations brought the characters and action to life, making every panel a visual treat. Stan Lee's writing was groundbreaking, injecting humor, personality, and relatability into the characters. Their collaboration is truly the stuff of legend, as they crafted a story that was not only action-packed, but also emotionally resonant. In conclusion, Fantastic Four #1 is a true classic in the world of comics. It's the beginning of an incredible journey that has lasted for over 6 decades. The plot, with its origin story and introduction of the Mole Man, offers a perfect blend of science fiction, personal drama, and superhero action. The birth of Marvel's first family is an essential piece of comic book history. Thanks for joining me on this journey through Fantastic Four #1. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more comic book content. And remember, the Marvel Universe is a vast and rich tapestry of stories, so I invite you to join me on a journey through Marvel history. Together we'll explore the iconic characters, the groundbreaking moments, and the evolving narratives that have made Marvel Comics an enduring part of pop culture. Excelsior, and stay tuned because in our next episode we'll be diving into the exciting world of Fantastic Four #2.